This episode discusses sensitive topics. If you or someone you know is a victim, please reach out to the RAIN Network. That's RAINN. And you can find them online. You can call them. You can reach out to them.
Remember the party that I invited you to, but you decided not to come because you said you had something else to do? Only in the middle of my party, you called me to see what the fuck I was up to, which tells me, Michael, that you actually didn't have anything to do and that you just didn't want to come over, which is okay. Because I often would prefer to stay at home. I'm good.
Cut the camera. This is Brief Recess. I'm Michael Foote.
I'm Mélissa Malebranche.
Today we're going to be talking about our new swear jar. We're going to be talking about Haitian cigarettes called
Comme il faut.
We're going to cover the tragic gun violence dominating the headlines today. We also have an interview with New York City Council member Erik Bottcher. We'll also review with Congressman Robert Garcia, who you saw in the headlines on Friday, talking about the Epstein files. And I'm going to answer all of your burning questions from my DMs. Yeah, it feels like a weird day for a suit.
Maybe.
I did separates instead. I don't know. Sometimes when I do like suit separates, I feel like I'm kind of like not giving it my all.
Like you've given up.
This is the face.
That's what I feel. I've been meaning to talk to you about it. When you wear separates, it feels like
everyone's talking about it. The group chat is full.
It feels to me like you just don't give a shit about how you feel. Michael, I think Michael has stopped caring.
Michael's in separates today. It's time for the holidays. This is Sidebar. We're going to talk about the craziest things happening in the headlines, all the weird things going on in today's world. Wait, what are you doing for Christmas?
I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know? It's really soon.
I know.
Do you need an invite?
No.
Are you going to be? Okay.
No, I'm not. I don't need an invite. I don't want an invite.
Did you and Andre do a big Christmas tree every year?
We did do our tree. I'm dying for a fake tree.
Really? I love a real tree. Why? Because you just don't want to sweep up the needles?
I don't want to sweep up the needles.
Okay.
I prefer a solid white light. Andre likes blinking colored lights.
Okay.
If you have a fake tree, the new ones come with remote controls. Babe, I'm looking at you. They come with remote controls and you can change the color. It could be bright white. It could be blinking light. It could be all types of stuff.
Press 1 in the comments if you want Mélissa to get a fake tree. She seems really excited about
it. Please.
Press 2 if you're a fresh tree girly like me. I love the smell of a fresh tree.
I like a fresh tree.
Yeah.
But like a fake tree has more options.
Is your 3-legged cat climbing on your fucking tree?
No.
If I was missing a leg, I'd be like, I'm not going to scale that shit.
I think that maybe you should not talk about people or animals that are missing limbs.
No, I think that's okay. I'm just saying, like, knowing myself.
Knowing yourself.
If there were some sort of, even just like injury. When I broke my foot, I wasn't like, let me climb this Christmas tree.
Michael broke both his feet during the pandemic. He broke one foot. And then he got a little bit better and then promptly broke the other foot to the point where I didn't think he was still telling me the truth.
To a point where I told her about the second foot breaking.
Michael Foote told me about the second foot.
Mélissa and I laughed in my face about this injury. She didn't even say, I hope you're okay. No, are you all right? No, what happened? Nothing. Just laughed right in my fucking face.
I did. Oh, okay. So my mom and I were talking and I said to my mom, Mom, are you watching the podcast? Are you listening to the podcast? And she said,
I'm honestly nervous about whether or not she is.
No, so she says that she is. And then she said to me, Misa, F-U-C-K. Misa.
Je cherche.
Misa. S-H-I-T. And I was like, yeah. And
she's spelling them.
But I got a really good story for you, but I'll tell you, circle back around to that in a second.
We're on our 4th digression from the original.
And then I was also speaking to my aunt who was like, you use a lot of bad words. And I was like, yeah. And she said, but especially the lawyer.
Good. Okay, good. Okay, I'm happy to take the bullet because I do swear a lot.
And she feels like she said to me, I can tell that he's a smart guy. He went to law school.
I'm not.
She said she really genuinely feels like there are more words in your vocabulary and she's concerned. She's wants concerned. You to know.
So I had an English teacher in high school who was like, stop swearing so much because you're just not using your vocabulary anymore. You are relying on these swear words. And I said, oh, shit.
You're an asshole.
I said, you bitch.
Go fuck yourself.
Get fucked. That's Swedish for fucked.
But
so throw it up on the screen.
Yeah.
Everyone in Sweden.
So my aunt feels like she feels that you can do better.
Okay. No, note taken. And I'll take the note.
My mom always says, whenever my mom is like slightly disappointed in something that I have done, she tells me that she and my dad wasted their money on me. So the ROI is not what it should be. I love how
your parents are nickel and diming.
Oh, yeah.
My mother always said that. She was like, I'm going to send you an invoice when you graduate high school. For all the food and the lodging.
Yeah. No, my mom just says, she's just like, wow. We lost our money.
This whole episode, I'm going to try not to swear. That is and what are the stakes? Let's give me stakes.
So okay. So you can't even think of the thing.
Because I know I'm going to break it. I'm like,
I think
how much can I afford?
No matter what, right? I think we pick a charity.
Okay.
And if
I swear, I have to Venmo money to that charity.
And if
you have to do it.
Oh, no, I don't want to be in that. No. This is on you.
Okay.
I'm okay with me. I'm not changing my vocabulary. We'll think of something. So,
CJ, do we have any charities that we we were thinking of talking about them on the show today. Hands Off NYC. It's like training people on what to do in their communities if like ICE comes to their communities.
I love that.
Okay. So I am pledging on air on a hot mic that I will donate to this organization no matter what, but I will donate more if, what are the terms?
So
if I do swear.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to get all the swears out of my system before we go to, before I have to stop swearing.
I don't know.
For the episode. Can I just?
Like what? Why? Are you trying to tell me? Are you trying to tell
that I come in ready with a bunch of swears?
Yeah. Are you trying to tell me that you have to swear? And listen, you're talking to somebody who drops the F-bomb a lot.
You do, yeah.
I do.
I think I learned it from you.
Oh, fuck off. No, we should get a jar.
Okay, let's do it. Let's get a jar for a swear jar. Yeah.
But yeah, do you think that you can't tell a story without?
I can. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it
and make it entertaining and fun.
I'm strong enough to be your man.
Are you strong enough to live without me?
I feel like hell tonight.
Strong enough. Because I'm still crying.
Let's take a break. I wanted to talk to you about the Christmas tree, the mom and pop store where you got your Christmas tree, because I think I'm getting played by the Christmas tree people in New York City.
I did not. We ended up not going to the mom and pop Christmas tree.
The Christmas tree places are a running game in this city. I don't want to be the person who's like, oh, anti-proletariat, but
No. We didn't go because I found out that the guy, it's like a guy or like a family.
Yeah.
They're hardcore Trump supporters. And I found out, and because I found the guy's social media.
Of course, yeah.
And because I couldn't remember where he was. So I started looking, and then I looked, and then I was just like,
I can't do it.
I can't do it.
Give the money to the corporation. Get your tree at Costco,
And so we got a tree at a big box hardware store where the person who helped us was a veteran.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as consumerism that is ethical. Like there is no such thing as like consuming ethically, right? Like we're still a part of some like system that is broken.
Oh,
so I do feel like
really?
there is like, if you
That
like
makes me
drill down
sad.
enough, I'm
Yeah.
not saying that like you shouldn't at least strive to be
Yeah.
ethical and like support people that uphold your values.
Right.
But I mean, not to like bum you out. I'm not saying
I'm
that it's
already
like,
bummed out. I hate it here.
I hope my husband doesn't watch this episode. I got to the Christmas tree stand because I want a really tall tree.
Mm-hmm.
I want one that's scratching the ceiling as we bring it in.
Okay.
I got to the stand before him.
Mm-hmm.
I paid off the person to give me.
You're a dirty, filthy liar.
I'm disgusting.
You are the lying liar
I'm
who
a
lies.
disgusting B word because I
Don't you get he's trying, Betsy.
just don't make me stop using I statements because I'm a fucking frickin' shit. Damn. Oh fuck. Sorry. Oh
stop
darn.
it.
I'm a white male podcaster. I
You
have
are
to use
so
I
weak.
statements.
You're so weak.
I bribed this person
Mm-hmm.
and gave him some money and was like, "Don't show me a tree under 8 feet. And if my husband asks for shorter ones, you have to lie and say they're shorter." And it worked. I have an 8.5 foot Christmas tree. Throw up a photo.
Is your tree standing up straight?
It's standing up straight if you look at it from certain angles.
Same. Our
It's like
tree
me
is
when I'm in
never-
sweatpants and like a sweatshirt. It's like if you look at me from a certain angle, I'm
What?
also looking straight.
No, you're not.
But then you turn to the side and you see my limp wrist and my shoes, and I'm wearing a Loewe loafer.
What does Jack do with the tree?
He kind of naps near it. He sort of he drinks the water out of the stand.
No,
Yeah,
that can't be good.
He loves it, and he's survived 10 Christmases drinking Christmas tree stand water. So I think it might be what's keeping him alive. He's 13 and he is young and sprite and spring chicken trying to take me all over my neighborhood. So
Sure.
he's still jumping up on the bed.
No hip dysplasia for Jack.
No, I guess not.
Thank
Yeah,
God,
we give
right?
him like a little mobility bite, and he takes that every day.
Okay, good.
But I've gotten to a place where I kind of have to start taking the mobility bites too
Yeah,
myself.
don't we
Yeah.
all?
Yeah.
Wait till you get to perimenopause.
Anyway, I'm really excited about today's episode. We have Erik Bottcher in the building.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, hiding in the green room, terrified of me and whatever I'm going to ask.
He'll be okay.
Excited to meet you, like all our guests. This is your algorithm is showing. We should talk a little bit about what's going on in the news.
Of course.
So Congressman Garcia actually over the weekend on Friday released a bunch of deeply
Right.
disturbing photos from
The
the
Epstein
Epstein files.
Okay.
We tried to get him on, but he's traveling today. So, but we have some clips. CJ, can you throw them up?
We received, this was just yesterday, 95,000 photographs from the Epstein estate. We were able to put out, so far, probably about 75 to 80 photos throughout the day today, many of which you've seen. A lot of the public has now seen, which is incredibly important for transparency. And our intention is to put out as many of the photos as possible while protecting, of course, the survivors.
That
You know what I hate?
It's so disturbing.
It is. But here's what I really, really hate, truly. How many people need to come forward to say, this happened to me with these people and this man repeatedly before they're just believed and something is done. I really resent this idea that in order for people who have been victimized by a plethora of rich, wealthy white men is that you need to see it in order to believe it.
Yeah.
Like how many people
Yes.
need to come forward to say, this happened to me. This is what happened. And it's almost like there's this desire to see the salaciousness, do you know what I mean? Really, I'm grateful that the congressman has done this. I am resentful that he had to do it.
And the entire situation is disgusting, right? And
Absolutely.
And even now that the photos are online and we're seeing the photos
People
everywhere,
are still going to have
people
stuff
are still
to say.
like, people are always out to get rich people.
Right,
People
right,
are
right.
always trying to take down
Or, you know,
the billionaires of the world.
like-
They're powerful. There's people have it out for them.
Megyn
right?
Kelly, who was like, well, 15 just as bad as 5.
Yes. Below 18 is...
It's illegal.
It is statutory rape.
Yes.
Statutory rape. So going into, I'll do like a quick legal rundown. There are different kinds of crimes. Statutory crimes, no matter what, if you break the statute, it's a crime.
Right.
We don't care about mental state, mens rea. All that matters is that if you can prove an act was committed, it is a crime, period. That's what when we say statutory rape, we've heard it sort of like throughout our lives. That's what that means. It is every other crime, aside from statutory crimes, you have to prove their mental state. You have to prove they had the intent to commit the crime. Whereas statutory crimes, it is a law, and it's so reprehensible that if we can show the act of you breaking that law, we don't fucking care what you were thinking.
Right.
So I'm glad they released these photos. They are.
So am I. But
watch out for them if you are easily triggered. I am someone who I had a client a couple weeks ago send me photos of people who had been beheaded. So I have a pretty thick skin.
Yeah.
I rarely get nausea, and I was thinking
Sickened.
about these photos long after I saw them.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Once you see them, you can't unring that bell. It stays with you. It stays with you.
Today's been kind of a doozy.
Today's a bad day.
Yeah. Shootings over the weekend were awful. Brown University, there was another one. I saw a post of a young woman who survived the Brown University shooting, also survived a shooting at her high school.
I think that's going to start happening more and more because there's so many high school shootings and that now they're happening at universities. I think, I saw the video of it and it was... I saw a video. So there's, I guess the students were in the library and then the police came in to announce themselves. And you can just see how afraid they were.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why we love guns more than the people who are a part of this country.
It's the gun lobby. I mean, the gun lobby is so powerful and has so many politicians in their pocket. It is... I would love to hear Walter Masterson's take on it. I'll text
I'm sure
him.
He's got a ton to say.
Yeah, I'll text him and tell him to pop off in the comments on this video because I think I don't know. We see it all the time, right? Like corporations get more standing, get more power, get more privilege than people do in this country. Like this is truly broken down late stage capitalism. And I just think that especially with gun control, there is such a causal connection. There is no gray area about it. But it's gotten to a point, after the Pulse shooting, I think I was talking to you and you and I were we are at a place where we probably will have to survive a shooting at some point. That is what it's gotten to statistically in America. It is not dramatic. It is not hyperbole to say that there's a possibility, maybe even a strong possibility, that we will have to survive a shooting.
Yeah. And I will say that when I am in certain spaces, especially if it's places that I go to often, I have scoped out places for me to hide, to run, and I can remember that there was a time when we didn't have to do that, but now I feel like it is absolutely necessary. You need to be ready to sort of go because, like you said, it's going to happen. Yeah. Right?
After Aurora, I remember now, ever since then, every time I go to a movie theater, I take note of where we're sitting in relation to the entrance, where the exits are in relation to where we're sitting. It's just become a part of how my brain functions now. I don't go to a movie and not think about that.
When you were a kid, did you do active shooter drills or no?
No.
Okay.
Too old.
Right, you're too old.
No. Columbine happened when I was in, I think the 7th grade, around there. And
I was a grown-ass adult.
My birthday's 4/20. So I remember being school's canceled today. And I didn't really get it.
No, of course not.
It has always kind of been a part of my cognizance, but I don't know what it was like to sort of go through those drills. I know that they have them all the time.
They have them all the time. I have one of my cousins was really upset because there was an active shooter drill for her kids' school and they didn't tell the parents.
Oh.
Whereas I have another friend who the school sends a schedule.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Right.
Because you can prepare your kid for what's going on to explain what happens. I would be terrified.
Sure.
Even if I had notice. But fire drills used to freak me out.
I used to love a fire drill.
She said, pound the alarm.
I used to love a fire drill because it was 10 minutes of
hell yeah.
We're going to go.
She's outside at the dumpster smoking a cigarette, smoking a Newport, so a menthol, a Capri.
No, I
the
was
super skinny Capri.
I was
what were you smoking at Parliament?
Marlboro Lights.
Marlboro Lights.
Because my dad smoked them, and I used to like flinch cigarettes from my dad. First he smoked the red pack, the hard pack, and then he sort of decided to go for a lighter cigarette, and he started smoking Marlboro Lights.
We've got it. Can we just I'm just going to hard cut to the Haitian cigarette company that Mélissa was telling me about. Her grandmother,
my
aunt. There is a Haitian cigarette company that boasts that it's healthier than other cigarettes. Because
it's got either like honey or bee pollen or something in it. And let me tell you, and the name of did I ever tell you the name of the company?
Yes, you did. It's the punchline. Do it.
Comme il faut.
Comme il faut, which means...
the way that it is.
The way it is, man. The way it is.
Yeah. When I first moved to Flatbush, so people who don't know, so Flatbush is still pretty much, even though it's becoming very gentrified, a very sort of like West Indian neighborhood. And there was a huge population of Haitian people. And I had just moved into this neighborhood, and I was walking from some store, and I looked down... I took a picture of it.
And you saw?
And I saw a crumpled up
Comme il faut.
Comme il faut. And it was the light green pack because it was menthol.
Because it was menthol.
But I was like, okay, I live in Haiti.
So it is.
Yeah.
All right, Erik Bottcher's here. Say it on 3. So it is.
Comme il faut.
Comme il faut.
Comme il faut.
Let's take a break. Welcome back to Brief Recess. I'm Michael Foote. This is Under Oath. We're going to go deep diving with Erik Bottcher, who is a dedicated public servant and activist who has devoted his life to progressive causes and to the betterment of the community he loves. In 2021, he was elected to represent New York City Council District 3. And Erik is also running for the House right now, right?
That's right.
He announced his candidacy to replace Nadler, right? Is that right? Okay, I didn't mess that up.
To be your member of Congress.
My member of Congress.
Yep, that's right. So I represent Council District 3. There's 51 New York City council members in New York City. We each represent around 180,000 people. My district, Council District 3, it spans from Spring Street up to 55th Street, roughly west of Broadway.
Wow. Okay. So that's a big swath of New York City.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It is. I'm just wrapping up my 4th year on the city council. And I was just reelected last month.
Congratulations.
That's great to hear.
90% of the vote, which I was so happy about.
Whoa, that's amazing.
That's awesome.
I know.
That's amazing.
Yeah, congrats.
It was on election night, and we were like teetering at like 89%.
Yeah.
And I was like inconsolable. I was so upset because I wanted to get 90%.
No.
And my staff was like, you are not allowed to have said around 89.
You are
a win is a win, Aaron.
We're here to tell you, yeah.
And then overnight, it went over to 90, which I think is just like the ultimate customer satisfaction survey for me and my team. It was really cool.
And how many terms has this been for you?
So generally speaking, the city council is 4-year terms.
Okay.
But this time I had a 2-year term and a 2-year term.
Right.
Because it fell on the 10-year redistricting.
Okay.
So they redrew the lines, and I had to run. This is technically my 3rd term.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And was there anything that you sort of like voted on recently that you're really proud of? Or things that our listeners are awesome and so keyed into politics on the local level, national level, anything that is just like top of mind that was
this is something I'm really, really, really excited about. And it's a bill that I introduced a few weeks ago, and we had a hearing last week. And it's a bill that would re-legalize a housing type in New York that's been functionally illegal for many years, and that is shared housing.
Oh, interesting.
And single room occupancy housing.
SROs.
Housing with shared common areas, shared living areas, shared baths, shared kitchens.
Okay.
I mean, that's so important for just like affordability and the housing crisis in New York City altogether.
I didn't realize those were no longer illegal. When did they do away with SROs?
So essentially by the 80s, they were phasing these out.
Okay.
And because they were bad, right?
Yeah,
They were often unsafe, very poorly run, poorly managed.
Right.
And so we phased them out, and
they were sort of like slumlords kind of situation.
There were. Yeah. But The phasing out of single room occupancy housing tracks almost directly with the exponential rise in homelessness in New York City.
Sure.
Because for decades and decades, hundreds of years really,
Yeah.
SROs, single room housing with shared baths, kitchens, common areas was a important rung on the housing ladder.
Yeah.
For people, if you didn't have a lot of money,
Right.
it was a source of stable housing.
Right.
We want to restore that rung on the ladder, but do it in a different way with new safeguards, like no more than 3 people, 3 units sharing.
Yeah.
I
understand the safety and the probably hygiene situation of a lot of people sharing, but the more accessible you make housing, the more you sort of put it as a rung on the ladder, the fewer homeless people. The more accessible you make it, the more likely it is someone is going to use that money to get a room, especially in the cold winter months like this.
That's right. And the truth is that shared housing is very, very common all throughout New York.
Yeah.
It's often referred to as having roommates.
Right.
But it's family size apartments that are getting rented out by singles with different people living in different bedrooms. So it's there, it's everywhere, but it's often unregulated with very few tenant protections. You have people who enter these roommate situations who are often victimized and taken advantage of by the person who has the lease to the apartment.
Yeah.
There's no real fire code. You have illegal walls and partitions.
I was going to say illegal walls and partitions, fire codes. Also, a lot of migrants live in those spaces too. A lot of my clients have sort of shared living situations that are just really disturbing and complicated sometimes, right?
But
it's
have
the only
dozens
option.
of people living in really tight spaces, right?
Right.
Yeah.
What do you know about SROs, Melissa? I know.
So
you had a flicker of recognition.
Years and years ago, when I first started working, I was a paralegal at the Gay Men's Health Crisis, and we had a lot of clients who were living in SROs. And they, some of them were because they were working, they were able to pay for it, or they got a housing stipend that allowed them to live in those spaces. I don't think I realized that they had sort of gone by the wayside. Yeah. But a lot of them would complain exactly of what you were saying. Well, yes, I'm lucky to have a roof over my head. However, there's a rodent problem. There's a, roach problem, that kind of thing. It doesn't feel safe. It's not clean. It's not well maintained. So I love that you did this because people, I look at how much it costs to rent an apartment now in New York City. And I can't believe how much people are supposed to have. How much money is somebody who's just starting out supposed to make?
The average rent in New York City right now is $5,000.
Right.
That is the current amount.
I don't know how people afford these rents.
It's unbelievable.
It really, it's shocking. I mean, again.
People I know, when I find out how much they pay in rent, I'm like, how do you do that? How much must you make?
Well, and also, what are you not doing, right? You, and I appreciate that vacations and things are a luxury, but are you able to feed yourself? Are you able to do some nice things for yourself? I feel like this idea of people working just to pay rent is just, it's wrong. Yeah. It's wrong.
It is. Yeah. And for people in the shelter system, we have to create ladders out of that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be their forever home. It's a place for them to go to get independence, to get stabilized before they move on and get a larger apartment.
Yeah. Are you getting pushback on that as you're sort of trying to reintroduce SROs? Who are you up against in this fight?
So this surprised me because I posted about this bill. The Times did a piece about it and I posted about it. And I thought everyone would say, "Oh, Erik, that's such a great idea."
Yeah.
There was a lot of pushback on social media from people who felt like it was like a really bad thing.
Because
you just want to make apartments smaller.
You just
instead of addressing affordable housing, you just want to make everyone's apartments tiny.
Right. Oh, this helps the developers who just want to make really small apartments and sell them for a lot of money.
Exactly what the knee-jerk reaction from people was. So it is going to take some education.
I get that. I also think that this thing happens on social media. It happens to me a lot where haters come in who have never stepped foot in New York City.
Oh, 100%.
Who are the people who hate on my videos, who want, are mad at me about the videos about ICE. They're like not even American sometimes. And I'm like, what? Like, you really have to like couch what criticism you internalize and how you sort of move through your work.
That's
because a lot of the times it is like a kid who stole their mom's phone.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. If somebody's living in Idaho who has no idea what it's like to live in New York City, and, why would you want to live in New York City? You can, and then there's always somebody in the comments who's just like, I live behind God's back someplace, and I pay $100 for like this huge place. And I'm like, well, then I have to be in that place, right? Like New York, and for somebody who is like a lifelong New Yorker, New York is my home. I want to be here.
Yeah.
And it seems to me that I should be able to afford to live in the city that I grew up in.
That's right. And I think a lot of the criticism is well-meaning, right? People
Yeah,
feeling like we want to shoehorn people into tiny boxes and no one should have to live that way.
Yeah.
But the truth is that almost everyone I know at one point in New York has had roommates.
Of course,
and that's essentially what we're talking about. So some of the people who are, getting kind of nasty in the comments, I actually said, like, when I met you, you had roommates and you were okay with it. You may not be now, but at the time it was a way for you to be in New York and get your footing in the city.
Yeah, it's how we all started. It's how we like got here, right?
Sure.
That was the entry point. Yeah.
And we need all of the above. Yes. We need more 3-bedroom apartments for families.
Yeah.
We need more 2-bedroom apartments for families. Yes. We need more big apartments. We also need more shared housing.
We do.
This isn't the silver bullet. Like, and I didn't hear you here today on the show say that it is this Deus Ex Machina that's going to fix all of our problems.
Right.
It's not. But it is definitely a step in the right direction, or one of many things that we can do to support affordability in New York.
Yeah. So I'm excited about it. We had a hearing. We're going to be doing more education, and I'm going to be getting my colleagues on board. And I hope that we can pass it early next year so that we can begin seeing more options. One more thing about this. It's really good for people with mental health issues because social isolation and seniors, social isolation is a really big problem. When I talk to service providers and people who work in social services, one of the problems I have is people shutting in, staying in their room.
Interesting.
And for days at a time. And this really gets people out. That social interaction. It also gives social service workers the opportunity to like observe the person and make sure they're okay.
Right. There's a door to knock on to do that wellness check, right?
Eric, let me ask you, so a couple questions. So is the intention to build these spaces or to take already apartments that are there, maybe vacant, and rehab them so that they can become SROs? And the second question is, you mentioned this idea of people who are struggling with maybe substance abuse or mental health issues. Would there be like a social work component in the basement of the building?
That's right. Yeah. So supportive housing, on-site social services, very important for those populations. And we're talking about new housing. We're talking about conversions of office space into residential. That's a really big opportunity for more housing.
Right, because the district you mentioned, right, all the way, that includes Midtown, which has seen a lot of things change about it since the pandemic, right? Like,
which has been awesome. At the beginning of the pandemic, we were very frustrated by the lack of office to residential conversions. New York wasn't doing many of them. They were happening in other parts of the country. They weren't happening in New York. Now we are leading the country with office to residential conversions. And it's a really, really great development.
That's awesome.
It is going to help address the housing shortage. It's also going to help revitalize some of these commercial only districts, which is an outdated concept, right? The idea that you have this area is residential. This is an office area only that shuts down at 5 o'clock. We want 24/7 vibrant neighborhoods.
We have limited space in New York. It's such an obvious statement, but we really can only build up so high, and you can't really go out too far. It's an island.
Right. Right.
I was in LA a couple of weeks ago and I was like, oh, as far as the eye can see is Los Angeles.
It's flat.
Yeah. Add another neighborhood, you're good.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to sort of pivot a little bit. Mélissa mentioned the gay men's health crisis. I know that HIV/AIDS funding has been cut in America recently, that there's a lot of things on the table. You are also running for one of those House seats. Tell me a little bit more. I know this is like a cause that's really important and near and dear to your heart.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. I want to talk about this. This is something that I think everyone in the room has sort of dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Truly shameful what's happening with HIV/AIDS funding, both foreign and domestic, right?
Yeah.
With
WHO.
funding that, you know, one of the few good things that George W. Bush did, one of the very few, was with the prodding of Bono.
Very few.
Yeah, with the prodding of Bono was really upscale United States funding to help end HIV and AIDS around the world. And that is thought to have saved like millions of lives.
Yeah.
And truly incredible. Well, they want to zero it out, which could cost millions of lives. Truly shameful. And then United States, you have programs like Ryan White, which have really also helped save countless lives. They're talking about zeroing those out. They would love to do it. And there's a real possibility that we'll see a resurgence in HIV and AIDS after many, many years of incredible progress. I mean, it's been truly incredible what we've been able to live through the last few years.
I also feel like when it comes to HIV AIDS, now that we have PrEP, now that we have all these medications, that people don't, especially in the gay community, like that I'm a part of, that I hear a lot about, that my friends, my community, it's almost as if people are definitely, it's not on their mind. They're not like, oh, like I'm at risk, I'm on PrEP, like, right? Like it is very much a out of sight, out of mind thing now. But I don't think what people consider is how white and privileged that thought is. How very few people actually get to experience that feeling of comfort, that feeling of like a sound mind, of not having to be concerned or worried. I grew up when there was no PrEP, like when I was sexually active outside of closed relationships. It was at a time when HIV was very much still something that you could contract. Everyone was concerned.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like when I came
the
out,
idea
the first
of not using a condom never entered my mind.
No, yeah,
because
it was never.
I had from childhood going to elementary school in the 80s. Part of our curriculum every year, ongoing, was safe sex and HIV and AIDS.
Yeah,
and it was so shocking to me when PrEP came along and condom-free sex became a thing, because I never imagined doing that.
Well, of course not. I mean, because the message was you couldn't. It was you just couldn't do that to yourself unless you wanted. So
dangerous.
It was so dangerous unless you wanted to die this terrible, horrible, lonely death, right? So when I was working at the Gay Men's Health Crisis, it was sort of the mid-90s. I mean, I remember when AZT first came out. Do you know what I mean? So so sometimes people were dying. And I will say, I think I've shared this before, one of the reasons why I left GMHC was because all my clients were passing away. It just felt like that's what was happening. And it was at the time the kind of place that eventually it took its toll on the soul. Yeah. And I just remember one day I was just like, I'm crying at work. This can't be.
And it keeps happening.
Right?
Yeah.
And the thought of that time coming back again is so scary to me. Yeah. I really can't stress that enough, because I hate sort of saying these things like, back in my day, but honestly, back in my day, I have some gay friends who are my age who all their friends have died.
Unreal.
Do you know what I mean?
I feel so privileged to be. So if I was born a few years earlier, I probably would not be alive right now, because I would have been part of that generation. And we're lucky that we're here because we were just born a few years later.
Yeah.
I paid close attention to this. There was a cruising spot in Penn Station that is in your district that is, right in, it's Penn Station. It's one of the major transport hubs for New York. There's a cruising spot in the men's restroom where gay men were having sex. And recently, I think it was over the summer, police were cracking down and sort of policing that activity. Tell me more. Let's get into it. It was very much a situation where, yes, what was happening is illegal, right? We're not, there are people who are engaged in sexual activities in technically a public space, but the police were approaching it in a way that was like, oh, that person looks gay, and then they would arrest them.
There was entrapment.
Yes.
There was entrapment. And my office, we were in contact with one of the people who was entrapped, right?
Wow.
By the cops. And he said, I want you to know that I was not doing that. Like, I was not doing that.
Yeah.
And
the problem with this sort of entrapment of the NYPD was it was during Pride Month, and there were over 200 people who were picked up, and it was like people who were just wearing pride bracelets near Penn Station, which if you've ever been to gay pride in New York, you need a bathroom quick. Sometimes like it wasn't necessarily like actual things were happening.
Right.
People were clearly.
It was the perception.
It was, a gay person was near the bathroom in Penn Station.
Let's round them up.
We're not too far from it now.
Right.
There are also really disturbing accounts of the language that the officers use.
I'm sure.
We won't use it on the air, but
yeah,
a lot of queer slurs were thrown around, and they're referenced on
and we went public about it. I'm co-chair of the city council's LGBTQ caucus. I also represent Penn Station, so Councilmember Tiffany Kamban and I, my colleague, we went public about this, and Amtrak responded eventually saying that they were just responding to complaints about things that were happening in the restrooms.
Right.
We are watching this very closely to ensure that that those practices stop, because this is something that's been a theme throughout my career. When I started as the LGBT liaison at the city council back in 2009, there was entrapment happening in video stores where the PD, their vice squad, was approaching. They have these very attractive undercover guys approaching older men.
Oh God.
And
offering sex.
And that's right.
Right.
That's entrapment.
Yes, of course. Yeah. I think the NYPD and a lot of police forces have a long, ugly history of doing this. This is not like, to me, I had heard about these things happening, decades ago, where the police were doing this. There's a really long history of this type of behavior. And as a criminal defense attorney, I'll be one of the first people to tell you, once you're sort of a part of the system, it's really hard to get out of it. It's very much a system that it's fly tape. Once you touch it, it's kind of stuck to you. So when I heard it, I was like, what fucking year is it? Like, this is 2025. Like, and we're still doing this. Like, it really was one of those moments. And especially in a city like New York, like, we have one of the fiercest pride parades. We've got a huge queer community. This is where queer kids come to get away from this in their hometown.
I was going to say that,
This is the Mecca, right? So I'm glad you did something about it. Take me through that thought process, right? Like, how you sort of approached it, because this is like not politically palatable, right? Like saying, okay, like technically public gay sex is illegal. You could imagine how this in the wrong conservative hands could get twisted.
Absolutely.
Those words, right? Especially with like drag queen story hours. We could talk about that as well. I know you have been outspoken about supporting drag queen story hours, and so have I. I would just love to hear a little bit about like, what was that thought process? Like, you're a queer man, you've been focused on these issues, you hear about this happening in your neighborhood, like you live in the district. Like, what do you do? Because I know I would, if I were in that scene, I had to make the decision, I would probably have like a dark night of the soul where I have to really think about how I approach this, because like I said, in the wrong hands, this could be like an ugly headline for you.
Yeah. I think in New York City, we have trauma from law enforcement. I mean, the Stonewall rebellion was started with a police raid. Our communities want safety, but they don't want to be persecuted.
Right. And they deserve safety.
Yeah.
As do we all, right? We all
right.
do. And I think especially, folks who are in vulnerable communities, like the LGBTQ community, like, Black women, like these are the people who need our help, and we need not just our citizens, but obviously our public servants to sort of rally around us and say, this is important. You are part of my community.
Yeah.
What happens to you is important to me, to us.
And I have a good relationship with the LGBT NYPD organizations. Right?
Yeah.
There's one, it's called GOAL, Gay Officers Action League.
Mm-hmm.
And they are very active within the NYPD, and there's so many more of them than there used to be.
Yeah.
And that's been a really powerful force of change within the NYPD.
Of course,
yeah.
Because they're everywhere within the force. And that's such a very positive source of culture change from within.
It's a complex sort of line to toe, right? Having to work with people that are maybe politically opposite, or people sort of pulling people together. I know you're running for Jerry Nadler's seat in the House right now. What is your plan when you sort of get in there? We've heard from, New York City politicians have been pretty outspoken about partnering with Trump, how we sort of work with this administration, what we can do to ensure that New York remains the safe place that it is for many people, especially migrants. Like, what is your plan? Like, how would you approach this as someone who's running for this seat in the House?
Look, obviously, we have to stand up against Donald Trump. We have to stand up against fascism on the march. We have to oppose it. We have to be against it. But we also, as Democrats, we have to be for something, and something that people are going to be able to feel tangibly in their lives. One of the reasons why Mamdani won against all odds is because he spoke directly to people about the issues that they were confronting in their lives. And he gave people a real sense of hope that those things were going to change in their lives.
Yes.
And let's just take New York City, for example. In New York City, they say that an individual has to make like $130,000 a year to have a good quality of life. And a family has to make like $250,000 to have a good quality of life. 90% of New Yorkers don't fit in. That means 90% of New Yorkers have a substandard quality of life.
Financially don't belong here, right?
Right.
And people want their Democratic Party. If we as Democrats want Americans to start voting for us again, when we are in charge, when we do have power, we need to make a difference in people's lives.
Right.
One of the issues that we talk about a lot is housing. How do we bring housing costs down around the country? At its core, the rise in housing costs is caused by a shortage of homes. And as a country, we're around 5 million homes short nationwide. How are we going to make up that difference? How are we going to have 5 million homes built around the country so that there's not this scarcity created, so that you have 25 people competing for every vacancy? I will work to establish a program, a nationwide program, where we as a federal government, we should be incentivizing cities, counties, and states to allow for more housing construction, transit-oriented development, walkable neighborhoods with multifamily homes near public transit, near transit options. The United States stopped developing that way 75 years ago.
Right.
The federal government needs to create a program for these entities to sign up for, to buy into, where they will be compensated per unit of housing created.
Wow.
And there could be an affordability mandate included. That way the federal government's helping with the cost of the infrastructure that'll come with that.
Whose buy-in do you have for that, right? Like, that is your vision, right? Love to hear it. I think it sounds, what do you think?
No, it sounds amazing.
I think it sounds really cool.
Really hopeful.
How do you sort of approach that?
Right.
Like, how do you get that sort of
How do we make that
right?
happen?
There's a cohort of members of Congress who are onto this, right? They get it. And they include members of both parties, by the way.
Okay.
They understand that we as a country have created a scarcity of housing, the scarcity environment where we're competing against for limited resources when it's totally unnecessary. We can have a society where we have ample resources for all,
right?
Okay.
Where the rich and the well-connected aren't winning every hand because there's a scarce amount of housing. I think growing that coalition, addressing the misinformation about transit-oriented development and walkable neighborhoods, people don't really understand what that means. Donald Trump, when he ran for president in 2016, he accused Democrats of wanting to abolish the suburbs.
The Democrats in D.C. have been and want to, at a much higher level, abolish our beautiful and successful suburbs.
Because what we were talking about is really building more density in the suburbs, allowing multifamily housing in the suburbs, not single family homes. And it resonated with some people saying they want to build a skyscraper next to my home.
Right.
It doesn't have to be like
What's going to
that.
happen to my property
We're talking
value?
about 2 stories. We're talking about duplexes, triplexes, areas that you could walk around. By the way, the vast majority of Americans, they want to live in walkable neighborhoods. The polls show again and again and again, surveys show that most Americans want to live in a neighborhood where you could walk around.
Sure.
But the vast majority of Americans, they don't live in those neighborhoods because it's functionally illegal where they live.
How's the race been going? How's that looking? The race has been in the headlines
exciting.
Recently. There's a demon Twink running against Eric, who said that it's a Twink off currently, which I would love to hear what your thoughts are. I mean, this is a total tonal shift from Trump and affordable housing and multifamily homes. But Twink off really does sound like a Fire Island Pines like mud wrestling activity.
And I love Cameron Kasky for saying that because I'm 46 and he described us as having Twink-like qualities.
Incredible.
I'll take it at 46.
And
but I do identify more and more as a daddy. And a twink. Actually, I'm a twas.
You heard it here first. Erik Bottcher's a daddy.
I'm a twas.
He's a twas.
It's been years since I've been a twink.
Twas the night before you were a twink.
Exactly.
That twink death hits hard. I've been there. I mean, to be called a twink at, you said 46?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. Great job. Round of applause on the skincare. You got that Korean skincare 12-step. What are you doing?
In very dim lighting, especially.
CJ hit the light.
Yeah. Michael loves lighting.
I love a good lighting moment. I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize for it. I took a leaf out of the Leah Remini book and just said, give me all the lighting and the nails.
Yeah. And all lamps.
Yes.
No overhead.
No overhead.
Yeah. We had a moment at the city council about overhead lighting because
hate crime. It's a hate crime.
I'm telling you.
That is worse than the policing of Penn Station.
I'm telling you, I passed legislation that would require the city to better light underneath scaffolding.
Oh, I was going to say.
No.
And
absolutely.
I said at the press conference, I said, there's a stereotype that gays hate overhead lighting, and it's 100% accurate.
Except for scaffolding.
Scaffolding.
Yeah, baby, if you are campaigning on no more overhead lighting, you have my vote.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something. As a bald diva, that glare could light this entire fucking show.
I hear a lot about the glare. I hear a lot about the glare.
Airplanes are distracted with overhead lighting and the
I think
Vin Diesel, call me. We need to discuss because I think we could start like a little super PAC against this overhead lighting.
And
just as bald girls.
If I come to your home and you have overhead lights, I will turn on every lamp and turn off every
well done.
I'm quite imperious when I go to people's homes. Mélissa knows. I just walk right in and open the fridge. make a sandwich,
he's
have a glass of
also
water.
been known to go into purses, but
I went into your one time. Eric, what do you think about, okay, this is our Christmas episode.
Mm-hmm.
A, how do you celebrate? And B, we are currently beefing. We're not going to tell you who's on which side. Eric wasn't in the studio when we covered fake versus real Christmas trees, but you do have to pick a side. And
I'm team real Christmas trees, even though I'm definitely team artificial plants in general.
Interesting. We've got one right there.
Yeah, I think artificial
Cut in
plants
on our fake bamboo tree at iHeart Studios.
They're way better than no plants.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are like, I have a fake orchid that
do you get compliments
it's far
on it?
enough away where it's an orchid.
right.
Yeah.
As far as anyone's concerned.
Does it get dusty? Do you dust
It
your...
does get
See,
dusty.
that's the problem with the fake plants.
Yeah.
Like, they get dusty,
Real plants get dusty too, though.
but not like a fake plant. The fake
Okay.
plant seems to
They
like
can get that
really,
way.
like, really
It's
like
like-
absorb the dust.
And I got my parents some fake, like really tasteful fake plants.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they've been taking it too far. And my father
Yeah, you just lost the gay vote.
started planting fake plants outside. Like he put them
My friend did that.
in the lawn.
Yes. A friend of
I
mine
have
did that.
never heard of this.
Yeah, I hadn't either. So
Unbelievable.
People do that.
What?
People do that.
Comment below if you've planted up there. I've never heard. This is like
Yeah.
actually.
I will tell you
This is worse than the pineapple on the pizza. Who's what?
a really good friend of mine, and I'm not going to say who she is, but she
Call
knows
her.
who she is.
Yeah.
She planted, in front of her door on either side, instead of having like two real plants, she put some fake plants.
Okay. All right. I mean, I guess I had a strong reaction, but I guess it does kind of make sense.
Maybe in a harsh climate or something. But they're in the Adirondacks.
In a
There's
hurricine,
no-
if I get hit by a fake orchid, I'm going to be pissed. If I get clobbered by your fake birch tree.
on your shiny noggin.
What happened
I had
to
a
him?
fake birch
It
tree
was an
land on
orchid.
my house. That's what happened to the Wicked Witch. Okay, well, thank you for joining us. Do you want people to? Do you want to plug anything? Do you want us to
I would
check
love
out your
to invite
handles?
people to follow me on social media.
Great.
Okay.
Bottcher on social media channels. It's a great way of us staying in touch with each other. ErikBottcher.com is my website.
Okay,
And I really want to thank you for having me.
of course.
Very
We'll
much.
clip
Thank you.
this. We'll put it on
Yeah.
socials and we'll tag you so people can see your handles and everything.
And does your campaign, are you looking for volunteers or anything
We're
like
looking for
that?
volunteers. You can sign up.
Yeah.
We're going to have,
Fantastic.
it's going to be really, really exciting 6 months.
We're always looking
Yeah.
for fun ways to get involved. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yay.
Thank you for
so
being
much.
here.
Thanks
Thank you,
for being
Eric.
here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. This is Tales from the DMs. This is where I answer all your burning legal questions. Honestly, any of your questions. Ask me relationship advice. I've been in a relationship for almost 10 years.
As I
We have a
always say,
disclaimer.
we do have a disclaimer, which is that while Michael is a lawyer, he's not your lawyer. So let's try and remember that.
Yes, but if you do want me to be your lawyer, I actually just recently opened up in my link tree. You can click book a consultation with me. And I charge like a small fee. I think it's pretty reasonable. But to book a consultation with me is 30 minutes. I'll review your case. I'll review what's going on. It'll be very much like this, but with less bronzer.
And I won't be there chiming in, unfortunately.
It's an upcharge if you want, Melissa.
Yeah, it's for sure. I'll come.
Hi, Mélissa and Michael. I was just calling to see if you could discuss something that happened here in Indianapolis on Tuesday, December 9. There was a naturalization ceremony that was being held. However, 38 out of 100 prospective citizens were turned away at the door.
I did hear this.
They were turned away?
Yeah, exactly like she said. There were some people who were all set to become naturalized, which means, so you tell people what that means.
Yes, yeah. So when you're set to become naturalized, it means all of your paperwork is literally done. Everything's been approved. USCIS has approved everything.
Right.
And I think actually most of it's been like stamped, processed.
Yes.
This is the last step. It's sort of like the swearing in ceremony. You won the election.
Correct.
This is you put your hand on the
Right.
Bible and swear.
And if you are interested in becoming a citizen, like this is the prize, right?
Yes.
This is the prize.
You invite family, you invite friends.
Yes.
I've gone to a couple for some clients. It's fun.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, and we don't know why, a group of them were turned away, that they couldn't do it?
I don't know why they were turned away.
Right.
I can guess. I can postulate. I think that there is a lot of miscommunication going on right now. The directives coming down from USCIS, from DHS, from the Trump administration, down to the officer level. Like, communication is very garbled, I would say, in the enforcement space. That's what I'm sort of witnessing, is that certain clients, the police are acting one way, ICE is acting one way. Like, there is no comprehensive plan of these are the rules, this is how to follow them. We had an organization like ICE that exploded in activity, is huge, and has so many people now working for them that are all brand new. So that is what I think is happening. I don't necessarily know exactly what happened in Indianapolis. Right. A lot of what they're doing is illegal. I can't say whether or not this is, just off the top of my head. A lot of what they're doing is illegal, but it's not going to be enforced. It's going to take years to get to the bottom of it. We need lawyers and firms to pick up those lawsuits. And a lot of it will be litigated long after people have been removed from this country. And I see that it is heartbreaking.
It looks like a part of the reason, I don't know what happened there, but what has been happening more and more is that the people who were about to be sworn in are from countries that the current administration deem as high risk.
Right.
So they're coming from some country that he's probably
like
called
Venezuela.
The shithole. Yes, exactly.
Venezuela, Haiti,
yeah, Somalia, etc. So yeah.
Okay.
Yikes.
All right. Well, thank you for your question. If you want to ask us a question, you can go to my Linktree, click on Ask Us a Question. You can record your voicemail. We will play it on the air. I'll try and answer your legal questions. And that was Tales from the DMs. Thank you for watching Brief Recess. I forgot my line.
Thanks for watching Brief Recess. I'm Mélissa Malebranche. He's Michael Foote.
I'm Michael Foote. I'll see you in court. Wait, we swear count. Throw it up on the screen. What was my swear count? 0.
Lies.
That is revisionist history.
Lies.
I'm still going to donate.
Well, yes. Yeah. I'll keep you honest.
Have a wonderful holiday, everyone. Happy New Year. We're going to have episodes playing throughout the holiday break, but we'll be back in the studio in January with some fierce tea.
Yay.